complaint from the member of the public, from any member of the public in regard to his service. I mean, we couldn't get, I don't think the appointing authority could have gotten a better person to serve as the Inspector General of Police. But more important, Honorable Speaker, look at the personality of Mr. Kanja. Look at his demeanor. He's appeared on media to address several issues of national interest. Look at the way he presents himself. I mean, with a lot of composure, extreme maturity display, and commitment to his work. This is the best person, Honorable Speaker, for this work. Then now, much work will have done the smallest part of our work to have him passed in this house. But much work is needed of him going forward. Number one, he has a lot on his table. Even as we talk about, police brutality, sometimes we raise issues about the way the police officers conduct themselves, which of course they haven't changed. Today, Honorable Speaker, I need to raise, to speak from the other side, Honorable Speaker, that Mr. Kanja has got a higher responsibility to take care of his officers. The morale in the police service is going down. Some senior officers, the inspectors, the chief inspectors, Honorable Speaker, some of them they still harass the junior officers. The way the officers live, the way the way they operate, the places they live in, Honorable Speaker, is still deplorable. Mr. Kanja has a responsibility to defend them before the National Police Service Commission, and I'm sure that is what some members want to raise an objection over, that as the head, because everything rises and falls on leadership, he has that responsibility to reinstate the morale of the junior police officers. At least much of the work in terms of their salary has been reviewed by this House and the President, but still much needs to be done as far as morale is concerned. But again, more important, Honorable Speaker, Article 49 is not well executed by police officers. Article 49 of the Constitution, Honorable Speaker, provides that the rights of arrested persons, that when you arrest a person, you need to tell them why you've arrested them, you need to listen to them, then you give them a right to call any person that they may deem fit. But still to date, young jobless people in the streets get arrested and then they are still told, utaongea mbele. Such are the disciplinary things that the Honorable Mr. Kanja needs now to check and teach his junior officers, that you don't just move around. We have now moved from the police force. It is now a police service. It doesn't cost you much as a police officer to talk to your fellow Kenyan in a soft language. I mean, really, why would you harass people and tell them, utaongea mbele? So such are the things that we really need to review, Honorable Speaker, going forward. But on the age issue that I had said earlier, Honorable Speaker, Article 45 of the Constitution and Section 11 of the National Police Service, Honorable Speaker, does not, in as much as it provides qualifications and the appointments of the IG, it is still silent on the age matter. It's silent. So he is virtually 61, but the provisions of the law are still silent. Of course, people will challenge us that there is Rule 70, Honorable Speaker, of the Public Service Regulations, that of course talks about the public servants, mandatory age being 60. But again, that is public service, public servant. Then, that is separate, doesn't apply on the IG, because there is an element of the definition of who qualifies to be a public servant or who qualifies in that particular provision. And then now that, of course, is provided for under Article 260 of the Constitution, which then now defines who then is to be called a state officer, Honorable Speaker. I mean Article 234, sorry. So, Honorable Speaker, with those very, very many remarks, I implore on this House to expedite this process and have Mr. Kanja passed so that we can have a substantive IG of the police. Because there has been a debate, on orders of the court, being defied by the acting Inspector General of Police. I mean, now we are going to have a substantive one, because we really need not to delve into such matters. But again, we also advise the police and the judiciary that we all maintain our independence. The police unit is independent in terms of the operations, and the judiciary is also independent, because there is a delicate balance. At one point you hear a judge complaining about the withdrawal of security officers. And the other side, they say they are independent. When the police of the Inspector General comes and says, we are independent, it also raises issue. Those instruments or those institutions that have been set by the Constitution, Honorable Speaker, are independent in their own rights. The judiciary is independent and the police is independent. But again, Honorable Speaker, even as a court officer, it's important, of course, for us to also, because I speak now as a court officer, as an advocate of the High Court, it's important for people to obey court orders. But again, we also need not to personalize. And this I really must say, that judicial activism should also stop. We need not to personalize public service. If in the place of the IG sends the DIG to represent him, because that is public service. I mean, that should also be taken in. You can't just say, now that, I simply want the IG. What happens of the DIG? Because we have the IG, then we have a DIG in charge of the AP, then we have another DIG in charge of the regular police. I can't really define how a judicial officer can say, fine, if the DG has been, the DIG has been set.
You have deviated. There's a point of order here now. Yes, what's your point of order?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable member.
I respect Mr. Osoro, but you see, when a mistake is done, it is wrong for us as a house to defend it. The judge had the platform of seeking whoever he wanted to come. And really you are out of order to say that the alternative was okay. I think that is wrong from this house to come. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I really still do not understand the point of order. I was simply making my case that in public service, in my place, if I am called upon by any senior officer in government, Honorable Speaker, and I opt to send Honorable Naomi, Honorable Speaker, I'll be right to send Honorable Naomi because we are within the public service. But what I would say, even in conclusion on that line, Honorable Speaker, the acting IG still has a window. He was given 7 days, and we really need to delve that because the 7 days have not lapsed. Nobody should actually blow unnecessary trumpet as far as his wars are concerned. But with those very many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support the report by the committee. Thank you very much.
Well, Minority Leader, as a ranking member.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I will be very brief and short. Mr. Speaker, on this matter, Mr. Speaker, this is one of the approval or the appointments that in this house you say give it a chance, Mr. Speaker. It's an approval that you can describe, let's give it a chance, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, why do I say so? Mr. Speaker, since the new constitution came in place, I don't think this country has gotten it yet right in the appointment of an Inspector General, Mr. Speaker. As you are aware, Mr. Speaker, the Constitution, when it was enacted, was very clear on how, Mr. Speaker, what is this market going on here?
Order, Elachi. I know that matter is juicy of court orders, but